These are the tools that you have in order to replace the rubbers that are in your radiator. First of all, these are the tubes. Both ends are different.
The end with the ring is the bottom, and that's what locks it into place. You'll be putting that part in last.
That's down.
This is the top.
Goes up. They're all that way. When handling these tubes, you must be very careful and not to damage them, because these are the part of the core that actually dissipates the heat. Secondly, we have a tube breaker.
The tube breaker is used in case a tube is too tight to pull out of the radiator. So what you do is you take it, place it gently on your tube, move it back and forth. It should loosen the tube up enough to pull out.
Explain what that one is.
These are my tube pliers.
Both ends, two ends.
This is used to put in and pull out the tubes. Now for this part, we'll be pulling out the tubes. So the flat side goes on the bottom. You hook it around, squeeze. Tube comes up. Comes out.
Close up.
Once you get that tube removed, you're going to want to pull out the rubbers. That's very easy. This is a lot easier after you get all the tubes out. Screwdriver in, grommet out.
Now, with the grommets that are in the radiator you have now, before you open up the box of grommets that we sent you, have all these grommets thrown away so you don't have them mixed up with the good ones. And when installing the good ones, every grommet has to be inspected for rips, tears, and making sure, most of all, that it is perfectly circular there, not bent like that. If it is like that, you throw it away and you get another one. Now, having said that, we have two styles of rubbers. There's this one here, and that goes on the bottom of the rad. The upper part of the rad, we have the smaller one. And the reason this one is longer, it is so it will support and catch into this groove. We will show you in a minute when installing it what to look out for to make sure that that grommet slips all the way past that notch and fits in there. Again, the longer rubber is the bottoms, the shorter one is the uppers. When removing, remove all the tubes first, and then you'll have a rad that'll look like this. Again, this is the bottoms, where all the big tall ones go, and the uppers is where all the shorter ones go. Okay, now you're going to show them how to install some tubes.
Well, before we put the tubes in, what we're going to need to do is put tube stays in. Holds all the tubes tight together.
When you pull all the tubes out, you lay them on a table such as this, and then you start installing these tube stays. Let's just take a look at one of them first. They'll come apart. You'll save these ones when you pull the radiator. These are just to help the rad from not wobbling around. So save them from the rad. And they install between the fins very easily.
Now, it's very hard to put them in all the way. So after you've got your tube stays in, you're going to want to grab a rubber hammer. And you don't want to hit them hard because you'll damage the tubes. But just gently so that they're flat.
And they go in. Okay, now installing them, we'll install these to show you. Very simple procedure. He's using a little silicone on the ends. Let's take a look at that. Any silicone will work. Spray the ends. This makes it very, very slippery so it goes in nicely. Then he sprays the tubes as well. There. Now here, let's look at this tube here first. Remember, what is up is always this, flat. The bottom has the ridge, and that ridge goes into the taller grommet, rubber. Hang on, pushes it up, then pushes it down. But it's not all the way down yet.
Yeah, that one is.
That one is? Okay, well you gotta show them just in case. Okay, put another tube in. Now, every row has these stays on them, and they go all the way out, and they fit right between the tube, as you can see here. So that helps them from wobbling around, you know. Now, to install this, sometimes you may have to push it down if you can't push it down by hand. And on the other end of this plier that he used to pull it, the other end of it has the pushing part to push it in. And push it, but what's important is you got to make sure that that ring clicks inside the rubber. Otherwise, it will leak again.
Alternatively, there's another way to do it.
This is another way of putting them in. Slides in the top, and then he's going to show you, oh excuse me, and then you can push it from up top like that. There's a bunch of ways, as long as you make sure that that seat goes in the rubber. Now what's really important too, when you're pushing on these rubbers and such, you make sure you don't damage them. If you cut them, crack them, or whatever, then you've got to discard them and put a new one in. Make sure you always throw away all your bad stuff right away so you don't get them mixed up with your good rubbers.
Now another thing we need to make sure of is that the rubbers are in all the way.
Okay, gotta make sure all the rubbers are in all the way.
So when you're putting these in,
Get the lower ones, the taller rubbers.
at first you want to put them in just a little bit. And then you want to grab a hammer all the way over here.
The rubber hammer.
And gently bang them in.
Perfect. Again, inspecting, making sure that when you hammer them in or put them in whatever, they all look round and they're not cracked or damaged.
Please be sure to use a rubber hammer,
Rubber
not
hammer.
a metal hammer.
Not a
Using
metal
a metal hammer, you'll damage everything.
Just to review again, you take all the tubes out first, lay them all nicely flat on a table, being very careful with the fins not to damage them. Then you're going to take out all those old grommets and make sure you throw them right into the trash before you open the box of the good rubbers. Then you're going to install your grommets, which is your next step. You do the bottoms first. This is a bottom, that's and down there's a bottom. Then up here is a top, and of course the other top. Remembering that the top tube is flat, the bottom tube has the recess in it that fits into the longer rubber. Always using silicone. Remembering to put the stays in each one of these. Now, they're all going to have stays in them, but the very last, you start from the back when you install the tubes. And the thing is, when you come to the very last roll to put in, the stay will be turned around, pointing in, so none of these rubbers stick outside. Like that will be the last one. He's showing how it'll be pointing inwards, so that they're all inside the core, not outside the core. Again, he's going to push it down, and it just pops right nicely in there.
Do another one.
Okay, do one more, and I'm going to film when you push that down. You have to be very, very sure that every tube is done properly, otherwise you will have a leak for sure. What else do you think we got? Thank you very much.